What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TAETRO Talks. I'm so happy to be here today. It's been a while since we've done a proper call-in show, but today specifically is going to be a call-in show. So if you don't know, TAETRO Talks, we do this every Tuesday. We do interviews with guests from, the music industry. Yesterday, or last week, I should say, we had the founder of Artifon, inventor of the Instrument One, and Orba. We've also had people like Sarah the Instrumentalist, Gnarly Beats. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, Hans Bieger, like people from all different aspects of the music industry and different genres, things like that. Ricky Tinez a couple weeks ago. But we also like to do call-in shows where you can call in and ask some of your more philosophical, motivational questions having to do with the world of music production. I do this sometimes on Mondays as well. It's called Mentor Monday, but we do like to extend the call-in opportunity to the TAETRO Talks audience, which is really cool, and I'm stoked to be doing today. I have a bunch of really cool guests lined up for the next few weeks. I'm still locking in some dates, but if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well as 343 Labs channel, who is the sponsor of today's stream. 343 TV, there's live streams every day, and today's show, TAETRO Talks, is one of those shows, and they're all really great music production shows that you should be tuned into. So we are live not only on my channel, but we're also live on youtube.com/343labs. If you like some of the interviews that you're seeing, I'm seeing some of you are saying in the chat that you liked some of those interviews. We actually also post them as podcasts. So if you look up TAETRO Radio on your favorite podcast platform, you can find those interviews, and you can also find other really helpful clips for home studio music producers. Let's start to get into some stuff. If you don't know how to call in, I did post a Zoom link in the chat. I'll do that again right now as well. So you just have to use Zoom, which is an app you can use on your phone, on your computer, whatever. It's not like you click the link and you're immediately on the show. You click the link and you get put into a waiting room, and I bring people in from the waiting room. I try to do in the order that you guys join the show, but try to do my best. And we have a couple people waiting already, but feel free to use that Zoom link that I just posted in the chat and jump into the waiting room, and I'll bring you on. Nobody has to see your face or anything. They can only hear the callers, so not too much pressure, but feel free to call in with your questions. I see lots of folks in the chat. And I'm stoked to see that. What is up, Trevor Hoffman? What's up, Carlos? Hello, Lakshit. Gerwild. Help me out with that pronunciation, my friend. Patrick, nice to see you. Mr. Jules, welcome back, Mr. Jules. Adil Constantine holding it down as my moderator for today. Thank you, sir. My mom is in the chat. Deyolo bros, what's going on? Manuel is the first, of course. Manuel is always the first. Wasabi Noise, hello. Brady Christofferson, welcome. Jay Scholes, J3 Mix TV, what's going on? Diego Mendoza, Reyes, what's going on? Nice to have you here. Samuel Messiah is here. I'm sure we'll have a Samuel Messiah segment on today's show. Absolutely. Hank, nice to see you as well. FF Santon, welcome. Nikhil, welcome. Wander Films, hello. Jay Vinci, Brawl Gamers. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this anymore. There's so many of you folks in the chat already. Audio Duck, what's up? Aaron, nice to see you. J3 Mix TV. Harik Shan, nice to see you. KGP is here. Wander Films, I think I said that already. Zaki Colemanres, nice to see you. Hello, welcome. I'm also monitoring the 343 Labs chat as well. So if you are in the 343 Labs channel chat, cool. I will monitor that as well. So I see you there. Scott Vincent, welcome. Happy to have you here. I think I'm caught up. There's Brian Lazo, Regina Sales. What's up? Vishesh. Y'all are great. Y'all are amazing. One more time dropping that link. Beisha, what's up? I hope you are well. Dennis, what's going on, my friend? I'm sorry if I missed your name. I'm trying my best because I want to get into the calls and stuff today. I'm so stoked. Oh, J3 Mix says, what's up, man, from the Philippines? What's going on? Why doesn't everybody drop where they're calling in from? Because I think it's important for folks to understand, we bring this community together for these shows, but, we're not just, people alone in our home studios. There's other people all around the world that are doing the same things that we're doing. You know, they have home studios, they have gear, they love music production, and it can be really easy to feel alone in that process and alone in doing that on your own. Like a lot of times we don't have like family members or friends that are into the same things that we're into, but just knowing that there's a community out there. Like now I'm seeing some of the locations pop up in the chat. UAE, Germany, Philippines, Netherlands, UK, Cornwall, Pennsylvania in the US. I'm in California, London. Like we are a strong community despite the fact that we're all over the world. And I think having folks here coming together from Spain, Cebu City, India, Orlando, Arizona, Mexico, Kansas City, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Bahrain, Mexico. I think that's a really beautiful thing. So like, don't sleep on the fact that you have a whole community out here, Quebec, Czech Republic. Like it's amazing. And take interest in some of these community members. Like we do these streams and sometimes a lot of people show up multiple times to a stream. Like you guys can communicate together. You guys can answer each other's questions. You guys can have camaraderie. You know what I mean? So don't sleep on this community because you guys are all great. Rev Sabes, thank you for being here. We got all the mods in the chat today. I want to get into starting to take the calls. We'll talk about 343 Labs later in the stream because there's some really cool free workshops and stuff coming up that I want you all to know about. But let me first start jumping into some calls. I see Angelo's coming up. Make sure y'all mute the stream when you get brought into the Zoom call because it will echo if you do not. Let's see. And also make sure your mic situation is squared away so that the proper mic is selected in Zoom or else it won't work. And then I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, Angelos, and we'll be good. Sometimes it automatically mutes people. Angelos, can you hear me?
Yes,
Welcome to the stream. How are you? Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Cyprus.
Say that one more time.
I'm from Cyprus.
Cyprus. Well, welcome to the stream. I'm happy to have you.
Thanks.
What's your question today?
I wanted to ask you, I'm going to buy a laptop for music production. So,
Awesome. You thinking about what kind of specs you might need?
yes.
Yeah, so buying a laptop, especially if it's your first one for music production, is really important. And it always is about getting the best performance for the price, right? Usually when we're just starting out, we don't have a very high budget. And that's something that I went through. Like I had a bunch of Windows laptops when I was first starting out that were not great specs, but I made them work regardless. So framing your expectations, the main thing that people should think about when buying a laptop for music production is your processor, your RAM, and your hard drive space, because you'll want to download lots of plugins, you'll want to save all your projects, all that good stuff. The processor is the thing that usually says i5, i7, i9. You want to look for a fast one of those. An i7 to an i9 is ideal, but you should get the highest that you possibly can. I had a MacBook Pro that had an i5 that performed very well. When it comes to Windows and Mac, my opinion is Mac performs better, but I also understand that Windows are budget machines. Like a lot more people can afford higher spec Windows machines. So there's that highest processor you can get, and then highest RAM you can get. So like 8 gigs of RAM plus is probably a good starting point.
Okay.
Yeah, are you thinking about getting a Mac or a Windows?
I'm thinking to get Windows.
Mm-hmm. What's your budget, if you don't mind me asking?
What?
What is your budget? How much are you looking to spend on a laptop?
I'm not sure. About 800.
Yeah, that's a pretty healthy budget for a Windows machine. I don't know what the market is like nowadays. If you find yourself struggling to find a powerful machine like a laptop, don't sleep on potentially an iPad, because iPads are much cheaper than laptops for the most part. And the app store, the music apps. Like there's plenty of DAWs in the app store that work really well and they're really powerful. And you actually might get some better performance out of an iPad than a lower Windows machine. But that's just a suggestion to keep in mind. So just remember the highest processor, highest RAM, and the best hard drive you can get for your money, and then you'll be in good shape. And you won't be able to, is your first laptop, budget laptop for music production, you won't be able to do everything that you see everybody doing. You'll have to sacrifice. You won't be able to run all the plugins all at once, but that's okay. Just start small, do what you can with it, and then gradually build up over time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling in, Angelos. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one. I'm curious to know, folks, if you're in the chat, can you folks drop what kind of computer you're using? Oh yeah, Audio Duck says, yes, my i5 MacBook is cool. Yeah, i5 can do pretty well for a long time. The laptop I actually started this channel with is the i5, and I still kind of use it from time to time now. Drop what kind of laptop y'all are using, especially if you're using Windows machines, because I don't know much about Windows computers. I want to keep it moving with some calls, though. Let's get Alex in here. Did I push the right button? I always think I pushed the wrong button. What's going on, Alex? We're just going to wait for you to connect via audio. Yeah, I see some people using MacBooks, some people using Windows. Alex, how's it going?
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me? All right, good. You can hear me. Where are you calling in from?
From my laptop.
You calling in from your laptop. I meant where in the world, but that's okay. What's your question today, Alex?
I want to quest if because you have so much ideas of your music producing, but I don't know how you get so much ideas.
You mean musical ideas like melodies and beats and all that stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's interesting because I never feel like I'm at a shortage of ideas. As a songwriter, as like writing lyrics, that's always been more challenging for me. So I understand that feeling. I used to write a lot of lyrics, and now I don't write many lyrics at all. And for that, I feel like I need to find more ideas. But for music and beats and stuff, I can sit at a keyboard and come up with pretty much anything. On any given day, I can come up with a track. Like I'm never feeling blocked. And I think it's a couple things. I try to move really fast through my creative process. I don't dwell on ideas. I don't say, well, no, that melody's not good enough and work on it for an hour. I come up with like the first few melodies that come to my brain. I work them out and I perfect them. And then I go with them. I don't second guess them. So I eliminate second guessing. I don't put too high of expectation on myself. The other thing is too, like, it's like learning a language. Like I basically only speak English, and I took a little bit of Spanish in high school, right? So yeah. I cannot speak very eloquently in Spanish, and I can only say very limited things in Spanish, because I haven't learned the words. I haven't learned common phrases. I haven't, read much literature that's written in Spanish. But if I did all those things, I could speak a lot more eloquently and a lot more fluently in Spanish. To put that into the perspective of music, if you learn to play lots of different kinds of music, or if you learn to play the type of music that you love, and you really immerse yourself in being able to play music and listening to music critically, you are adding to your musical vocabulary. And the more you add to your musical vocabulary, the more ideas you have to pull from, and the more eloquent of a conversation you can have. And AKA the conversation in this analogy is making music. So the more ideas, the more you enrich yourself with the vocabulary of music or the music that you love, the more likely it is that you will not get stuck, and that you have lots of ideas in the back of your head to pull from. So learning tons of the music that you love and learning what makes it work. Learning that you really like this chord progression, for instance. You really like 4, 5, 6, 2, that chord progression. So you're going to use it in your music. But this other style has, or even from a sound design perspective, using a super saw like pad instrument or whatever, just being able to pull from all those references in your head. The references are the music that you love, but you have to listen to that music critically to really understand what makes it work. Whether you're taking mental notes or physical notes, it will help you build up that musical vocabulary so you never run out of ideas. I never feel like I'm going to run out of musical ideas. I have days when I feel like my musical ideas are not that great, but I'm never going to run out of them. And if you let yourself make not great ideas, then that eliminates the block. There's no such thing as the creative block. You can always come up with an idea. Whether it's a good idea or a bad idea is a question, but you should always be able to come up with an idea. It just might not be good, and that's okay for some days for you to make bad music. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in, Alex. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Yes.
2 new callers right off the bat today. That's really exciting. I see some of the mods are putting the link in the chat again, which is good. I appreciate that. I want to take a minute and pay some attention to chat. And then I'll go back into grabbing some calls. Delirium asks, have you ever tried making your own MIDI controller? I have not. I'm not very engineering savvy. I do not have the patience to like work on something with my hands like that. I would love to work with a company someday to design a MIDI controller. I think that could be like years down the road, just build up this knowledge of MIDI controllers and controllerism and eventually work with some brand. I think that would be really cool to help work on designing the next generation of MIDI controllers, because I think I have a lot of ideas. Question, is Ableton Lite any good? The best version of Ableton that you can get is good. So if you can get Ableton Lite and that's what you have, start making music with it. Until you have an album full of music created with Ableton Lite, nobody should be criticizing it. If you have it and you haven't made any music because you think it's bad, it's a problem. Ableton Live Lite is good enough for starters. If you're just starting, here's the thing. When you're just starting and you have a piece of software like Ableton Live, like say you went out and bought Ableton Live Suite, which is what I use. It's the full version of Ableton Live. So many audio effects, so many instruments, MIDI devices, all that good stuff. You use all that, but you don't actually have the knowledge of how to use all that. So you've opened up Pandora's box and you're in this playground and it just becomes overwhelming. What's the point of that? The only thing that it does is it slows down your learning process because you have so many directions that you can go and you're not really knowledgeable about any of those particular directions. So what the Ableton Live Lite situation does, what having a limited version of that software does, is it funnels you into limitations so you can really learn within those limitations and then eventually grow beyond it. I'm not saying stay using Ableton Live Lite for the rest of your life, but what I am saying is if that's all you have access to and you're just starting out, you need to make the most of it and you need to learn the ins and outs of Ableton Live Lite. And once you feel like you've outgrown it, then you can upgrade to maybe standard or maybe suite. There's no point in starting with the open Pandora's box unless you're going to be super disciplined about the stuff you use. But what I find for beginners is a lot of the times beginners don't know which direction to go, and having all these options gives them too many options, too many directions to go, and you can never really focus on one thing. But say you get Ableton Live Lite and you really want to focus on creating melodies or creating, arrangement, simple EQing, simple compression, simple sound design stuff. You can absolutely do that with Ableton Live Lite, and you probably should do that. Adel Constantine says, baby steps, get a MIDI controller or an audio interface that comes with free Ableton Live Lite to start with. Once you hit your limitations, then upgrade to the next one, standard and then suite. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Limitations can give freedom. That's what Rev Sabes does. And it looks like Jobby has had some good experience with that. So that's cool. Just some food for thought. I think that eventually, sometime very soon, October is going to be a really busy month, which maybe we should talk about. I have big plans for October. But I think at some point I'm going to do maybe like a month of strictly using Ableton Live Lite. I think that would be really cool. Let's jump in and get some more calls. I see more people in the waiting room. Podge is up next. What mic do I use? I am using the Blue Bird mic, but if you stay tuned to tomorrow's video, you might have a chance to win a condenser microphone of your own. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video. Podge, how's it going? Welcome to the stream.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
My question will be, Since you just mentioned about Ableton Live Lite,
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning. I'm trying to see or pick what MIDI controller will I get.
Sure.
I'm currently my options are currently the Mark III Akai that was just released,
Yeah.
the Innovation Launch Key, and the Arturia.
Of course,
I'm
the
just kind of
trifecta
thinking.
behind my head.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually watching your videos recently. That's why I subscribed. So it's actually my first time watching your
Awesome.
streams.
Thanks so much for
Anyways,
tuning in.
I'm kind of torn between what works best with Ableton or what offers the most plugins that I can start with.
Sure. Well, I think it's kind of two different questions. The one that works best for Ableton is hands down the launch
The
key.
innovation, right?
Yeah, the Novation Launch Key Mini. From a workflow perspective, that totally works the best with Ableton Live. The Arturia Mini Lab does come with Analog Lab Lite, I believe, which is it is a good limited suite of plugins from Arturia's library. They have really good synths and stuff. However, so you could go that route. I would just do a little bit of research on what's included in Analog Lab Lite so you can see what kind of software that comes with. Because the Mini Lab is second to workflow functionality. It goes Launch Key Mini, Arturia Mini Lab, then Akai MPK, because the Akai MPK has no workflow functionality. So maybe your decision would be closer to Launch Key and Mini Lab. The Mini Lab has great keys. The pads are not as sensitive as I would like, but it does come with the plugins Analog Lab Lite. However, what I will also say is that Ableton Live, which version are you using? Are you going to be using the bundled like Live Lite that comes with the controller?
Yeah, the bundled for now since I'm just starting.
Yeah. So the thing with that is it does come with some synths and some sounds as well. And there's lots of free plugins out there. I know Sanjay C's news. If you don't know who Sanjay C is, you should check out his
I
channel.
know.
Yeah. So like his news program that he does every week, he's usually listing off a bunch of free plugins. So make sure you watch that. Don't go too crazy in the plugin world, you know?
Yeah, I do understand. Oh, by the way, I was just thinking if I'll wait for the Mark III Arturia. Do you have any news on that?
It's a good question, and I specifically don't know about it. Like, I have not asked about it because I know I get this question all the time, and I don't want to have confidential information that I can't share. But I can literally honestly tell you that I have no idea. What I can tell you is they recently, like a couple months ago, just released a firmware update for the Mini Lab Mark II. So that's interesting to me. You know, if they were developing a new Mini Lab, why would they be spending time doing a firmware update for the other Mini Lab? Also, they've got things like the Micro Lab. They just released the Poly Brute. What am I missing? Oh yeah, the new Key Step. So a lot of other stuff has come out from Arturia, but I have not had any word about the Mini Lab. But I know as soon as I say that, I'll get an email that says, hey, new Mini Lab coming out. But I can tell you that from my point of view, and I usually get early access to a lot of new things, I have not heard anything about a Mini Lab Mark III.
Okay, thanks, man. You're awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Bye.
Peace. Yeah, that's one of those weird things where it's like, so like Machina Plus, for instance, like I have one coming on the way to me and I knew about it before the leak happened, which is so interesting. But it was just funny to see it get leaked and then not be able to talk about it, you know? And yesterday's video, if some of you watched that, I talk about that Push 3 leak. And actually, it was confirmed to me by Ableton, by a person who works at Ableton, that the image is 100% fake. My point of that video that I put up yesterday was talking about, you know, we have Akai with their MPCs in the Force. We have Native Instruments now releasing Machina Plus. All standalone devices that are probably doing well in the market. I don't think the Force is doing well, but MPCs do well when they release them. And I think the Machina Plus is going to be a big hit. There's no way Ableton's not working on a standalone device, whether it gets called Push or whether it gets called something else. That was the real point of my video, because before that leak happened, before that Push 3, it's not even a leak. It's a fake fan photo. Before that Push 3 photo came out, I was going to make a video about how Ableton has to be working on a standalone device. I was just waiting for my Machina Plus to come in, and it hasn't come in yet because I wanted to show the two devices and then why wouldn't Ableton create one, but it's just funny. So the leak happened and I decided to make the video. So I hope you all enjoyed that anyway. But if you watch that video, you can see my case for why I think Ableton has to be working on a standalone device for sure. FF Santon, let's get it. Bringing you in for a call. All right, connecting via audio. How's the chat doing? Doing well. Hey, what is up, my friend? What's your name?
Hey, my name is Anton.
Hi, Anton. Oh, I was pronouncing it. I get it now. I was saying FF Santon. But what's up, Anton? Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Ukraine.
From Ukraine. Well, welcome to the show. What's your question today?
Thanks. I'm starting making music like just now, and I used to play drums like in real life.
Cool.
And so when I need to make drums in like Logic or Ableton, that turns out fine. But like you said that it's important to develop like fluency in basically the language of music.
Totally.
And I'm hitting a wall with that. So I was wondering if, because if I have an idea, making it happen in my DAW is excruciating and takes forever.
Absolutely.
But also I don't really have the patience to sit there and like learn the scales and like dedicate hours of my time to that. So is there some sort of middle ground that I haven't thought of that you can recommend?
Yeah, you got to trick yourself into learning this music theory stuff. And I'm the same way as you. I even went to college for music, right? So I took music theory 1 through 4 and jazz theory 1 and 2 and basic keyboarding skills 1 through 4, jazz piano 1 through 4. Like I had to sit through all this stuff that I straight up did not have the patience for, especially in the context that they were teaching it. The way that I built that fluency while also just not wanting to learn the most traditional way is twofold. It's one, by learning to play the songs that I love, either on keyboard or guitar. Keyboard is probably going to be most useful for you as you get more and more into production because you can get a keyboard controller.
Mm-hmm.
Really learning the basic chord progressions of the tracks that you want to kind of emulate, and then also just really learning some of the melodies of the songs that you love. I will also say that learning scales, though it seems tedious, when you become fluent in all 12 keys, like being able to jump between keys, being able to train your ears to play along with certain songs, it has made my life so much easier. And it's not even necessarily about learning and memorizing 12 scales, like the 12 scales on the keyboard. It's more about understanding the system behind how scales work. So if you know that a major scale, and this might go a little over your head if you're not super into music theory, but the basic formula for a major scale is a whole step, whole, half, whole, half. Basically, that is just the amount of steps between each note in a major scale. So when you understand that basic concept, you can start on any note on the keyboard and build a major scale. What that allows for you to do is hear any song that's in a major key and know exactly what the right notes of that song are. So when you have an idea in your head, or you say, I want to make a track that sounds like that song, and you understand the scale of that song, you understand the system behind scales, you can very easily and quickly emulate what's happening in that song, whether it's the melody, whether it's the bass line, whether it's the chord progression. So while you might not have the patience now to be sitting down and shedding some of that stuff, you have to make the decision about whether you want to sit down and be frustrated every single time you want to make a track, or whether you want to build the discipline to actually sit and learn some of this stuff. Because either way, you're going to be frustrated. One way is going to get you in a place that you're making progress, aka sitting down and being disciplined and actually kind of learning this stuff deeply. And another way is just going to have you walk away feeling frustrated every time. Because when you sit down, like when you're not actually being disciplined about it and you're not actually trying to learn the concepts behind the stuff you're trying to make, you're basically just leaving it up to chance. Like you might sit down one day and it might sound good because you happen to play the right notes or because you happen to find the right sound. But what is that going to be? 1 in every 20 times you sit down, you're going to have a good experience? You're not going to last if that's
it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it, and you're not going to last. Whereas take one of your days, instead of creating a track, say, no, today I'm going to learn about chord progressions, or today I'm going to look up an ear training exercise, or today I'm just going to try to play this melody from this song I like. And you'll be able to make more music that way when you build up those fundamentals.
Cool.
And like I said,
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
When you sit down to write a song, do you usually try to recreate something that's already in your head, or do you just like noodle around on your MIDI controller until you find something? Like, do you fish for ideas, or do you bring your own ideas? Like, what happens more frequently?
It's definitely a mixture of both. A lot of the times I'll have a very specific vibe in my head, and the vibe comes from the different inspirations that I have, like whatever I'm listening to, whatever music I'm really into on that day, on that week, you know? So if I say, okay, I really want to make this kind of moody trap vibe, that already informs what kind of sounds that I'm going for, and it even informs, you know, goes back to the vocabulary thing. Moody trap, right? Okay, I'm gonna be in a minor key. I'm gonna be using some reverb and like a really washy pad sound. I'm gonna use trap hi-hats. I'm gonna use trap drums. You know, like that's really what I mean about the fluency, is like you being able to translate the idea or the vibe in your head to actual things on the computer, whether it's a preset, or whether it's a drum sound, or whether it's a tempo. You know what I mean? Like really being able to critically think about that and say, okay, it's moody trap, or it's like pop EDM. That means it's this tempo. That means it's that tempo. Something as basic as that. And then other times I really am just sitting down and I go with a blank slate approach. I have no idea, and I'm browsing through presets and I'm waiting for one to inspire me. You know, it can go either way. There's no right or wrong way. What is the right way 100% of the time is doing what feels right in the moment. Because if you sit down and you say, okay, I want to try to make this thing, but because I feel like that's what I have to do, it's not going to be a very creative session. If you just sit down and say, okay, what am I feeling today? And you just start like searching through presets and you're like, okay, this is guiding me. This is how I want to do it. Or you're like, this isn't working. I'm not finding anything that I like. Let me try to specifically emulate a certain sound or a certain genre. Then that will get you a little bit more productive. But it's what's right in the moment. There's no right or wrong way. It's building up your fluency and doing it all the different ways so that you can pull one off the shelf depending on how you're feeling on a certain day.
Mm-hmm. That's a very solid answer. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your call. Thank you so much for calling in.
Have a good day.
You too. Yes, fluency. I guess that's kind of the theme today. Fluency in theory, fluency in your musical vocabulary, your synthesis, your genre ideas, all that good stuff. Maybe we should take a moment. Amir asks, do you have a class or a program you host? Well, this stream today is actually brought to you by 343 TV, 343 Labs, which I should say is a electronic music school. And we have classes online with really amazing instructors, Ableton Certified Trainers, Bitwig Certified Trainers, Apple Certified Trainers, all that good stuff. And there's actually a free workshop coming up. Let me see if I can find it and bring it up here. I'll drop a link. There's a free Intro to Vocal Production online masterclass, and that is taught by Louis Beck, who is a Beatport charting producer and also a 343 Labs instructor. I just dropped the link in the chat. Y'all should check that out. Sign up to do the free online masterclass. I think you can learn a lot from it. But while you're there on the website, also just click around and take a look at the courses, because there's 12 session courses, 2-day workshops, there's bundles, and there's payment plans. But if you are looking to really level up your music production skills, it's the way to go. Really dive into some of these classes. And like I said, the workshop is totally free. So definitely check out the link to the workshop that I just posted. I want to take a minute and say hello to folks in the 343 chat, because I feel like I've been neglecting it. But what's up, Abe? How are you? Abe has a show on Fridays called, it's all about the basics. So it's like production basics. I forget what the focus is today, this week, but you should tune in on Fridays because he's got a really good show. And sometimes he brings guests in, like John Selway. He had John Selway on last week, and that was really cool as well. What's going on, John from Rockaway Park? Hello. What's up, Andrew Duke? Nice to see you. Takeover 713, welcome. Frank Rhodes, hello. Like I said, I'm streaming on both my channel and on 343 Labs channel, which if you haven't yet, 343 Labs is very close to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. It would be amazing to me if all the folks here on my channel would go and just give a subscribe to the 343 Labs channel as well. That would be really cool. Let's get them closer to 5K. We put a lot of work into that channel and into streaming every day. Awesome. Let me dive into some more questions from the chat, and then I'll take the calls because I see Vishesh, Rashane, and Samuel in the waiting room. I see you. Hang on tight. I want to make sure I'm not neglecting the chat here. Where are we at? Diego asks, the Tascam that you use to make videos, could I use an old phone to sync my beats to the video I recorded? Not 100% positive what you mean by use your old phone, but sure. Like I have my iPhone, right? And if I wanted to record audio into this, I totally could. It's got a recorder built in. What you want to do is make sure that your camera is recording sound as well, because video editing software will sync that using sound. So you can tell the editor like, hey, use the audio file that you're uploading from your phone, and then sync it up with the audio from the camera, but you'll get nice quality because it'll use the in Final Cut Pro, you can select which audio file you're using and you use the recorded audio. You could totally do that. Thank you. I see lots of kind words in the chat. I appreciate you all. Jabi, Audio Duck, you guys are great. Thank you all. Oh, Amir went over to 343 Labs channel. That's what I like to see. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm stoked that you all are having fun in today's stream. I'm thinking about, because October is going to be so busy and because I'm trying to get lots of content out there, like tomorrow's video, I'll have a sound pack released, and we're also doing a giveaway in tomorrow's video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I'm really trying to ramp up the quality of the content and the amount of content. So I'm thinking for Mentor Mondays, my regular call-in show, I'll do that once a month because we'll be doing TAETRO Talks every Tuesday. So y'all can come and hang every Tuesday for TAETRO Talks. But Mentor Monday, I got to slow down a bit so I can focus on some of the other video content that I have planned, especially with October, Beattober. I'm making a beat every single day. I'll post more about that soon so y'all can join in. But I think Mentor Monday will be more fun doing it once a month because we'll meet once a month. Everybody will get their calls in and it'll be really great. That's what I think. The pack is going to release tomorrow. The pack will be $5. But for folks that are patrons at the $5 tier at patreon.com/TAETRO, I'm going to put it up for you all because you all already paid your $5. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Let me dive into some more calls, though. I'm going to try to take them in the order they came in. I appreciate you all. Yeah, but we'll do like more details around Beattober. Like I don't want to force people to think they have to make beats every single day because that's not achievable for everybody. But whatever you can participate in, once every other day, once a week, once every 2 weeks. I want to put more out about that so everybody can kind of get involved, do contests, giveaways, because there's another drop coming in October that I'm so stoked to share with you all, but I can't yet. What is up, Vishesh? How are you?
Hey man, good evening.
Good evening. Well, good morning for me. Good evening for you. Where are you calling in from?
Good morning. I'm calling from India.
The other side of the world. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much for having me here, man. Like I've been following your work for a while. The first video I saw was how to configure an Akai MPK Mini Mark II.
Yep. Awesome.
With Ableton.
Nice.
So that's where I started with electronic music, right? So I was wondering, like I texted you on Instagram the other day asking about the Machine Mark III, if you remember.
Oh, I think I might remember. My Instagram DMs, just so everybody knows in the chat, like my Instagram DMs are a nightmare. Like I get too many of them and it's very hard to keep straight. So like Twitter is probably the best way that people can hit me up, or like YouTube comments, but even that is like hard to keep up. But that's why I do this stream. So you can call in and ask your question and make sure that you can get the answer that you need.
Yeah, so the thing with me is that I'm currently using an Akai MPK Mini Mark II. I bought it like a year ago.
Awesome.
And I was considering whether I was planning to buy another pad-based MIDI controller, right? Like the Akai MPD 218 or Novation Launchpad Mini.
Sure.
So which one of these would be like a good pad controller in a budget of around $1,000?
$1,000?
$100.
Yeah,
My bad,
100.
not
Yeah.
$1,000.
Well, what do you want to use it for? Are you trying to do finger drumming, or are you trying to launch clips? Like, what do you want to use it for?
Okay, so to be very more precise about it, I originally started off as a guitarist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more about string instruments, and later on I developed a taste for electronica and techno. So I'm trying to incorporate both of them in the same set.
Cool. So
So
it sounds to
that's
me
what I'm
like you
doing.
probably need like a pad controller. I mean like a controller to launch clips into loop ideas. No, I don't
Yeah,
think,
basically, yeah.
because if you have the MPK, it's already got the big pads on it. You can play drums on that.
Yeah.
So this is easy. It's the Launchpad Mini all the way for sure.
You see, the issue that I'm facing between the two, like even I was thinking that I should go for the Launchpad Mini. But the
Yes.
thing that I'm seeing is since the MPK does not have any workflow control,
Mm-hmm.
I was considering that I could use the pads on the MPK for arming and disarming tracks, and the MPD for like the effects and drum pads and synths.
I would go the
And I
other
can
way.
use it.
I would go the other way around. I would keep using the MPK as a percussive controller, like for finger drumming, and potentially, I know your budget's $100. This will work. The Launchpad Mini will work for sure. This is all the workflow functionality, not all the workflow functionality you need, but this will supplement it very well. But the Launchpad
Because I
X,
see it has transfer controls and arm disarm
yes,
controls
it
very
has
well
stop,
stated.
solo, mute, all that good stuff, and it has a custom page, like a user page, so you can use Ableton. I mean, Novation has a really good web-based software that you can use to completely customize it, like have a whole page that's just for arming and disarming tracks, for volume faders, different things like that. So you can customize it completely. If you want to save a little bit more money, if you want to pay a little bit more money and you can save a little more and wait a little longer, the Launchpad X is actually your best bet. And I say that because Launchpad Mini does not have velocity sensitive pads. So even if you wanted to use it for finger drumming, it's not velocity sensitive. The other thing is this does not have a record button on it, and this does not have dedicated record arm on it. However, the Launchpad X does. Like, you can set this whole bottom row.
X is almost twice the price. That's the issue.
Yeah, but it's also twice the functionality. So you have to, you
It's
could
way
be
more than twice the functionality. That's what I'm seeing.
right. So you could be patient and kind of wait a little bit and save a little more. But I know we get eager and we want to do things. If you had to make the Launchpad Mini work within your budget, that's a great constraint. That's a great limitation for you to learn and work in. And I think that you could make it work for sure, especially with the user functionality, because everything that this does, besides being velocity sensitive, you can recreate the functionality of on the Launchpad Mini. It just takes a little more work. So if you want to save some money and put in a little more work on your end, you can make that work as well using the user mode.
Okay, and I just needed to ask you something regarding the headphones as well that
Sure.
I'm planning to buy. I was considering to buy the Audio-Technica ATH M30X. Would those be a good pick for a budget?
They sound good. I'm not super particular about headphones, especially budget headphones. I have the Status Audio CB1s. Those are really good. I have these, which are AI modular like headphones. They're like 140, 170 or something like that. And then I did a thing with JBL. So I have a pair of JBL Club 1s, which are really good. But I am not super particular about headphones. Audio-Technica is a good brand. If it was some brand that I never heard of, I would say stay away. But if you're seeing the user reviews and the user reviews are good and they're budget headphones, make them work. Learn how they sound, compared to other speakers, and you will be able to make them work regardless.
Okay, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot for having me. This really helps me out a lot, like a lot more than I can explain.
I appreciate hearing that. Let me know what you end up choosing for a second controller, maybe in a future stream or something.
Definitely, and I'm also planning to customize my controllers with stickers.
Nice. That's so dope. Well, good luck, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Oh, we got people going over to 343 Labs channel and subbing. That's what I like to see. Jay Scholes, new sub at 343 Labs. You will not be disappointed. Yeah, folks, go sub over at 343 Labs because you're going to miss the daily streams if you don't. Let me grab a question from chat. Oh, we have way more people in the waiting room than I thought. And not so much time, but let's just grab a question real quick. Debayon asks, Debayon, I think I'm saying that right. Beginner here. I'm not too good at composing and just learning producing as well. How do I recommend I go about this? Practice a bit of both every day. You might want to learn a little bit more about making music before you start learning about production, because you want to have the musical ideas to produce. So learning your favorite songs, and really critically thinking about them is the best way to go for that. Jonathan Rodriguez, if you can call in now, go for it. Call in now is what I meant to say. I started reading another comment. Call in now. I will try to get to all these calls. I'm going to try to power through them for sure. Rev Saves, thank you for posting that, because tomorrow I'm posting a $5 sound pack, and you can get that sound pack and join the Discord community and get some other perks, early look at content and all that by becoming a patron, patreon.com/TAETRO. All right, I need to go in with these calls. Samuel Messiah, it's time for a very special segment that we like to have every stream, where we have a caller, community member from the UAE, likes to update us on what's going on and ask great questions and give great feedback. Samuel, take it away.
Welcome to my segment, Samuel Says.
What's up, dude? Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. The school year has started. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to balance stuff, but I mean, I'm getting along with it, so
good.
It's all good.
That's what I like to hear. What you got for me today?
Okay, so we have a lot of stuff, but most of it's linked, so we should be good.
Perfect.
First one is Mac or PC. I mean,
Mac.
The computer I got or I have now, it's been with us for a couple of years now. The battery's dead. The performance is just horrible. So should we get a Mac or a Windows?
I think you should get a Mac. It's in my greatest opinion that Mac just gives you so much less headaches. And you're talking I used a Lenovo Ultrabook for a very long time because I was in the same camp that a lot of you are. I wanted to save money, but I wanted to get a high performance machine. I got a Lenovo Ultrabook. I made it work. It's basically it was supposed to be Windows competitor to the MacBook Pro. And it worked well for a while, and then it didn't. And that's usually what happens with Windows machines. Meanwhile, I've got a 2015 MacBook Pro that I've only had the battery replaced on because it's old and it just stopped charging. But that still runs strong. My main computer is a 2018 MacBook Pro, which is still working well. I edit 4K videos on it. You guys know I make tons of beats with tons of plugins on it. I'm streaming on it right now. So I just think Mac is the way to go. Way less headaches, for sure.
Yeah. But if I get a Mac, I'm going to have to get i5. So
yeah, but the way
ridiculous.
I'm not a tech wizard, but the way it's explained to me, or it has been explained to me by somebody who understands way more about tech than I do, is that an i5 on a Mac will actually get you a better performance than an i7 on a Windows machine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what I've heard from my friends that are a little more tech savvy than I am. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but I believe it to be true because I worked on an i5 MacBook Pro that worked a heck of a lot better than my i7 Ultrabook.
Okay. Good news. Okay. Next one is I got a USB hub.
Great.
This is going to be a headache for Windows users, but just listen to this.
Very nice.
It's the USB port is just messed up.
Oh, interesting.
And I can't connect the I got it mainly to organize my desk more because I had so much stuff coming out of the computer.
Sure.
Now it's just giving me tons of headaches. I have to unplug my headphones so I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah, it could be a power issue. You might need a powered one if some of the stuff is drawing too much power from the USB port. But I don't know for sure.
Right.
Could be that. And they
think of that.
They sell little 4-port ones that have micro USB ports on them, so you can plug them into the wall or to a charger or something. But it could be that. So just like make sure you balance out. Like with this streaming setup, I have to balance out where all my USB stuff is going. Like I have one big powered hub, but then I have stuff that has to go directly to the computer so it doesn't mess up. All kinds of stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 questions that are linked here. I just found another one.
Let's go. So rapid fire.
I feel like I'm really, really limited on the sounds I can use. I just downloaded Complete Start, and that's been working well. But so I just found we have a Yamaha keyboard at home, and so I was like, why just not get an audio interface and plug it in?
Sure.
Because it has tons of sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. You should do that. And I actually did that a lot when I had my first regular keyboard at home. It's just sampling those sounds. It's got strings, it's got piano, it's got all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's free, so why not? I mean, other than the audio interface, it's free.
Right, exactly. And it's less expensive to buy an audio interface and use that keyboard than it is to go buy another sound library, which will cost you hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And you'll get use out of the audio interface as well.
Last comment.
Let's do it.
So I've had this idea for a while. So I don't play guitar. I play drums, piano, but I don't play guitar. So I've been thinking, I've had this idea for a while. Just, the jam stick or the other instrument by Artifon.
Yeah, the instrument one.
Yeah, okay. I've been thinking, do you guys know of any instruments like that are just the strings on their own? So I play the chord on the keyboard and then strum the strings. And then the strings kind of act like a guitar.
That's super interesting. I don't know of any controllers that do that, but that would, a guitar, you don't strum strings, but that would be really cool. But one thing that's cool about the Instrument One that I'll say that is kind of close is there's this smart chord feature, which, let me see if I can grab this. There's this smart chord feature, right? So Artifon Instrument One, it looks like a normal guitar because it has the 6 strings across and then it has frets going down. But there's a smart chord feature that instead of having to play a full-on chord, like this is a G, instead you can put it in a key and you can just press one finger on a fret and it plays you the chord on that fret. So you're just pushing one finger down and you're strumming and you're playing a full chord, and you can pick through the chord and you can strum through the chord. But that is probably the closest thing that I'm thinking of. But if you're really wanting to learn guitar properly, you just buy a cheap acoustic guitar that you can learn on. But if you don't care that much about that and you want to just, add some strumming articulation and stuff and have a creative way to make music beyond just the keyboard, I think the Instrument One is the way to go.
Okay, and I just thought of one extra thing. My beats, I feel like I don't know what to add to them, but they sound really flat.
They sound really flat in terms of they're boring?
No, it's I think the sounds that I use are just very flat.
Interesting. Well, make sure that the sounds are adding some excitement. When I hear flat, I think dull. Maybe add some brightness to them. Your arrangement can have to do a lot with the excitement, but I would have to give a closer listen to really understand kind of what you mean on that. But try to add some excitement. Try to make sure every instrument and every part has its place in the mix. The bass lives where it needs to live. The melody needs to live where it needs to live. If everything's blending together, then it will totally sound flat and mixed together and just dull. You won't know. The listener, you have to be very clear, what do you want the listener to listen to? What am I supposed to be listening to at this time? It's not necessarily all these things are happening at once. I'm listening to all the things. No. What's the main thing that you're listening to in this moment? Think about that when you're putting your tracks together. And is it good enough? Is there a musical idea good enough in your track right now that a listener can focus in on and say, yes, that's the hook, that's the melody, that's the thing I'm paying attention to? think about that.
Well, thank you for the call.
Thank you for calling in. I'm so happy we could do that. I hope you heard me talk about Mentor Monday probably happening once a month going forward from now until the end of the year, maybe. So get ready, make your questions count. First Monday of every month.
Okay.
All right. I will talk to you next time, Samuel.
Peace out.
Peace out. Gonna keep rolling with the calls. And Rashane is coming up next. What's up, Rashane? Welcome back to the show.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, you?
I'm good. Are you moving? Moving out? Moving in?
Moving out. Yeah, you're seeing boxes.
It's never fun.
Yeah, but almost there.
Good. Awesome. Well, thanks for calling in. What's your question today?
So I've called in the past about starting my own YouTube channel, and like I've been filming just some content, figuring it out. I feel like I have a good first like episode story together.
Awesome.
But my question was like, what, like looking back on when you started your channel, like what are some advice you can give to like somebody just getting off the ground as far as like getting content together or like filming or like things of that like you wish you knew when you were first starting off your channel?
Yeah, I think it's like being organized and creating systems for yourself. Like I was a little bit all over the place when I first started because it becomes a lot, right? Like you shoot like with a camera and then maybe you record external audio and then you got to get it all into the computer. So just having like some system, like I have a dedicated hard drive that I use for different projects where I have like an in progress folder, right? And then I'll make a folder within that says, okay, MPK video September, and I'll put all the footage in there and everything lives in one place so that I can find it all and it's all organized. It just makes the process much easier because say I shoot like a really great video and now I have all these files and I misplace them or I'm not organized. When it's time to go like sit and edit, I'm not going to want to go sit and edit. So I'm not going to get my video done, which was the whole goal in the first place, you know? So whatever like organizational stuff you can do to really to really make sure that the experience is a positive one and you feel like you kind of have your shit together, you know? So you don't feel like, because I get anxious and I get when I'm disorganized, you know? And when that happens, I don't want to work on stuff. So I try to build systems for myself to be organized in that process. And it's also just making sure you're being honest with yourself and assessing along the way, like, is this the video I want to make? Like while you're in the planning process or even while you're shooting, like, is this the video I want to make? Am I having fun doing this? Is there another subject that I could do that would be more fun or that I would actually like doing? You know, like not 100% being about the views and being about the algorithm and being about the whatever, but being super true to yourself and feeling like you, I don't know, and feeling like you're loving what you're doing, you know, but constantly have check-ins with yourself, being honest with yourself and make sure you're not going down a path that you eventually are not going to have fun doing, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the follow to that would be like, when did you realize like you needed to, I guess, make a schedule? Like I've seen a lot of people talk about like be consistent and stuff like that, but I feel like that more applies to somebody who has already like has their channel and they're pretty much established. But like when you're just trying to like figure things out, did you still like hold yourself to like say one video a month type of thing to as you were figuring things out? Yeah,
so like I always tried to be consistent and do like one video a week, but I didn't become that organized about like when all that was getting done, you know, like because when I had a full-time job, it was just getting done on the weekend, you know, like I knew I had to shoot and edit and get stuff out on the weekend, if not putting in some like nighttime hours to get stuff done as well. But I wish I had been a little bit more organized on that in the past, as organized as I am now. Because if you watch the interview with Ricky Tinez, he brings up a good point about the way he schedules his stuff. Like he knows that I think it's Thursday that he's gonna shoot, and then every Friday he's gonna edit, and then he uploads on a Sunday. It's something like that. But just having that steady schedule because I think we talked about this in a past call, like the way I stack up my weeks. I look ahead at my week on a Sunday and I say, okay, all these things have to get done this week. But I don't just say all these things have to get done. I take those things that need to get done and place them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So with your content, right? Like you have a bunch of things you need to do during the week. But if you don't schedule like when you're going to actually take the time to do your content, whether that's shooting or editing or doing anything else, if you don't schedule that, it's always in the back of your mind as like, damn, I really should be doing that right now. Or man, I'm doing this and I should be doing that. Meanwhile, if things are scheduled, and you say you're going to schedule your shoot day for Thursday and your edit day for Friday, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you're not feeling guilty about not shooting or not editing or not working on your content because you know that it's scheduled for Thursday. Meanwhile, so that means you can get your stuff done, anything you want to get done on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and not feel guilty, and you'll be more productive on those days because of that, knowing that looking ahead at the week, Thursday's my day, I got it covered, it's all set. You know, so I wish I had been more productive that way in being organized, because it's a system. If you know that you want to release a video every month or every week, build yourself a system so that you don't have to think about it every time. If you don't have to think about, okay, what day am I going to edit this week every week, it's automated, you know, like it takes up so much less of your mental capacity.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
And I use Notion to track this stuff. So like I keep a weekly agenda every week in an app called Notion, which is like free. Like they're free if you just use it.
Yeah, I use it to like write notes and kind of project management. But yeah, that makes sense to kind of like put more of the things I need to do like on a calendar or somewhere where I can see like this is happening X day.
Yeah, and what I do in Notion is I have it's basically a to-do list set up with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I just put to-dos under each day. So I can at a glance look right at it and say, okay, no, I don't need to do that today. That's scheduled for Wednesday. You know, that kind of thing, like at a glance. And then I think what's also really satisfying is checking things off, like regardless of what to-do list app people use. It's like, especially when we work independently, like on content, right? Like you're doing it on your own. Nobody's telling you good job or you got it done or whatever. Like that's on you. But being able to go into a list and check things off and say, yep, got that shooting done, or yep, like sent out those emails, hitting that checkbox button is that affirmation that we're not getting from other people that if we worked a normal job with like supervisors and coworkers, we would get.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks.
Good luck. And thank you so much for calling in. I hope we can watch some of this content real soon.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, make sure you let us know when it happens.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right. Peace out, Rashane. Have a good one. Yes. I guess the organizational skills, that is what we're kind of looking at getting down here. All right. The rest of these calls, we got to do rapid fire because we're running over time. But thank you all for hanging out in today's stream. I hope you all are enjoying the call-in show. Next week, we'll be live with an interview, so stay tuned for that as well. I'm always burping on these streams. I don't know why. Mr. Jules, you're up. How's it going, Mr. Jules?
How are you, my dear TAETRO? It's a pleasure to be here again with you.
Welcome back to the stream. I'm so thankful that you're here and that we're able to chat again. We got to go kind of quick, though, because I'm running low on time and we have lots of other callers. But I'm happy to take your question.
It's really a very, very short call.
Let's do it.
Because the only thing that I want to say is thank you a lot for the encourage for my work. I already sent you on Instagram a DM, but I know you have a lot of those. So I want to say thank you because you were a very, very important image of artist that I follow a few time ago, and
I appreciate that, Mr. Jules.
It is amazing that you encourage all the people that are beginners, as I do, I guess. I mean, I have a lot of part of my life being a live engineering for bands and salsa groups. But now with the production, it's another world, and I want to say thank you because you encouraged me to uh, release the things that I already have done. So
That's great.
it's that I really appreciate that there's in the world people like you that share all the knowledge you have and all the content you have for check the gear and check the tips for Ableton and another kind of gear
For
you
sure.
have. So I really appreciate
super appreciate you calling in and saying that, because it's very easy to feel like lonesome in this game, as we've kind of talked about before, which is why I really love these community shows. But like, here's what you can do to pay me back. Everything you just mentioned, like sharing knowledge and like being an example and like positive like stuff, you can now go do that for somebody else. Like anybody in this stream, anybody who's watching that kind of feels the same way, that like, it doesn't have to be me, but feels like somebody else has had a positive impact on their life's work or their creative work. You can now take that one step further and realize that you don't need to be the expert to be able to pass down knowledge and be able to spread positivity and all those things. So somewhere along the way, like in this community, some beginners are becoming intermediate, and some of you folks are like stepping up your game to the point where you're leveling up, right? And while you're leveling up, there are some folks who are just entering into this world and going into the position that you were just in, the beginner position, the amateur position. So if you can now, like, you don't have to have a big following, you don't have to have a big YouTube channel, but what we can do, and what matters to me more than like plays, views, or whatever, is like inspiring you all, like hearing the affirmation from Mr. Jules just now, which I'm really appreciative of. But inspiring you all to go do your thing so that you can now inspire the next generation below. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but it's so much better with this community if we are able to take care of each other, because I'm just one person. I can't answer every DM. I can't answer every comment. I can't even like look at all the comments because for every positive comment, there's like, you know, the trolls and the negative stuff. That's an aspect of it too. But if you all as this community can stick together and be positive and kind of, you know, pay it forward, like if I did something for you, take that and pay it forward, be positive to somebody else, give affirmation to somebody else, teach somebody else what you know and what they don't know, that would be the best repayment that you could possibly give me for the community.
Yeah, of course. And well, I would like to say a little tip for all the beginners. I guess we all want a lot of gear, a lot of good stuffs, and expensive setups. But I guess the most important thing is to realize what we want to do. And there's a lot of gear in the market that it's in very great conditions that you can afford it. And well, you just have to check if you want to make drums, then you need an MPC maybe. If you have to, or you need, for example, me, that I want, I love the live sets and all that stuff, and I want to launch clips. Well, I have my APC Key 25 because I also have this kind of tumbao sounds from salsa with the electronic music, and well, I guess is one of the most important things for all beginners to see what I want to do with my music, where I want to go with my music, and just start with the things that you have in your mind, in your head. And I guess I can say that TAETRO, and if you follow the channel and you can see all the videos, it's a lot of help in every time.
Those are wise words. So thank you for sharing that with the community, Mr. Jules. It really is about figuring out what exactly you want to do and finding the tools to do that. You know, you don't buy a hammer if you're looking to, you know, I don't know anything about tools, so I can't really finish that analogy. But you know what I mean. Like, don't buy the wrong tools based on the thing that you want to actually make. But thank you so much for calling in, Mr. Jules. I really appreciate you saying all those kind words today.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to be here and to be part of the community, and also to talk with you at any time. And if you allow me, I would like to share my Instagram in the chat if you allow.
Go for it. Yeah, for sure. Share your handle, and then hopefully folks will go and follow and check out everything that you've been working on. I think that's important. And then hopefully when they follow you, you'll follow back, so we can all take care of each other in the community, right? So like folks, if Mr. Jules shares his handle in the chat right now, go ahead, follow him, and he's going to follow you back, and we're going to all stick together as part of this community.
We can get more connectivity with
for
this,
sure.
And also I guess we have a lot of tips that can share with everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Jules. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Let's keep rolling. This is inspiring. Really great calls. I'm so thankful for it. I got a few more on deck here. We got like 4 more. I'm going to just try to grab them. I got C. Higgins, A. Aaron, Jonathan Rodriguez, and Jay Scholes. I'm going to take them in that order. So C. Higgins is up next. Rev Saves, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that super chat, but we'll make sure to do a sound pack giveaway with that super chat. That's great. Oh, yeah, for sure. C. Higgins, make sure you connect via audio, and then we will get this going. See if it's working. Sometimes it doesn't work. Well, y'all, for sure, like, if you are able to connect with people outside of like the chat of this stream, that is the ultimate goal as well. It's important that we don't have to just be in a stream to connect, right? All right, C. Higgins, just got to unmute your mic and we'll be good to go. And like joining the Patreon, like for as little as $1 and connecting to the Discord is another way of doing that too. But I don't expect everybody to be able to, pay money for things. C. Higgins, how's it going? Welcome to the stream.
Hi.
Where are you calling in from?
Ohio.
Welcome to the stream. What's your question today?
I was wondering if I do like synth and D&B stuff.
Nice.
So I was wondering, what kind of MIDI controller would you recommend, or what, if I should even get another type of, instrument, or,
What do you have so far? Do you have any gear at all? Any MIDI controllers?
No, I'm literally just starting out. I've been really interested in it.
Cool.
So yeah,
what I'll say is I get this question a lot, and it's what you said, but replace the genre for anything. Like I make reggaeton, and what MIDI controller should I get? I make techno, what MIDI controller should I get? The thing for me is it doesn't, the genre doesn't really matter. I'm struggling to think about a controller that I would recommend for a specific genre, because it's really about the function of the controller, right? It seems like you need a keyboard. You need to be able to play notes. You need to be able to play drums. So pads would be good. And you probably want to do some effects. So you need some knobs. And there's tons of controllers out there that have keys and knobs and pads. The one thing I will say is that maybe step sequencing is important to you. So using a step sequencer on a push. Usually I recommend budget controllers because I have no idea what people's budgets are. If you're just starting out, I assume you're on a budget. You want to get a first time controller. So one thing I'll say is if you use Ableton Live, Ableton Push is a great controller, but it's pretty expensive, but it has a step sequencer on it, which might be good for, the kind of music that you make. But also any of the 3 controllers that you see behind my head on the stream, the Akai MPK Mini, the Launch Key Mini, and the Arturia Mini Lab. Those 3 are the top contenders for me. If you're on a budget and you need your first controller, regardless of your genre, any of those controllers will serve you well. And I've got a bunch of videos that kind of pick apart the differences between those controllers.
All right. Because I was wondering about getting the Novation Launch Key Mini.
Yeah, that'd be a great choice. You're using Ableton, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a perfect choice. I wouldn't spend too much more time thinking about it. That's a great choice for a first controller, and you'll be able to do a ton with it. Because workflow wise, think about it. You'll be able to launch clips. You'll be able to do little live performance, live arrangement stuff, fixed chord, arpeggiator, turning knobs, playing drum samples on it, playing keys. You can't go wrong, I don't think.
Yeah. And that was another question. Like the Ableton Live. I checked it out, like the price of like 3 months ago. And yeah, I didn't know it was that expensive. So I've been trying to use Ableton Live Lite.
Yeah.
And I like. Do you think that works? Like only having 8, bars to work with?
You mean 8 tracks?
Because I see. Tracks,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because I see like based on like some other DAWs, and they have like 20 things open.
Yeah, for sure. That's a limitation of the DAW, of the version of that DAW, the light version, for sure. I can point you to like MPC Beats is a free DAW, also has an 8-track limit. Ableton Live Suite has a 30-day trial if you wanted to try that completely unlimited, if you wanted to just try it and see if it's worth it. But the most important thing that I'll say, 8 tracks is a lot of tracks. And if you go on my Instagram and look at any of the beats, a lot of the beats that I've released recently, count the number of instruments that you hear, and you will hear less than 8 instruments. If you start, especially in the beginning, like if you're stacking up more than 8 instruments, you got to have a real good reason for it. And the thing that people end up doing is having very cluttered tracks, like tracks with too much going on. So is 8 a limitation? Yes. Could you do more than 8? Yes. Can you survive with 8 and actually make really good tracks with only 8 tracks? Yes. And even at that, if you wanted more tracks, like in the days of tape recording, right? There was only so many tracks. Like you'd have 4-track tape recorders, 8-track tape recorders, etc. So what people would do is use up their 4 tracks or their 8 tracks, bounce it down or mix it down, and then that becomes 1 track. And then you have 7 more tracks under that to build up with, like it's a different way of going about it. It's kind of like an old school way of going about it. But if you really wanted to work around that limitation and you are feeling constrained by it, there is a possibility that you can do that without dropping a bunch of cash.
Yes.
So don't worry too much about the limitation. Do as much as you possibly can within the limitation and ask yourself, like I know you see people that have more than 8 tracks, but as you start to get working, don't make that decision until you have the moment where you're like, damn, I really wish I had more than 8 tracks right now for a specific reason. You know what I mean? Forget about what everybody else is doing. Worry about you and your particular needs in that moment.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Did I properly answer your question?
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, man. Hope you do it again soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace. We got to keep rolling. Oh, Adel Constantine says Ableton Intro has 16 tracks. So that's another affordable way to get into the Ableton ecosystem. Aaron is up in the stream. What's going on, man? Long time no chat.
Yeah, what's up, brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I come leaps and bounds since we last talked.
That's great. I'm stoked that you're able to acknowledge that for yourself.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the support. You definitely were instrumental, no pun intended, in the whole development of the situation going on.
I appreciate
over here.
That. Thank you.
So the reason why I'm calling today, I know you're running out of time. So the thing is, I've been producing content and stuff. Things are going really well. I could use the new GoPro 8. I would like to have that, but it's not about the camera I'm using. What it is it's about the time I'm recording. And I usually, right now, I probably have 9 or 10 videos, and every single video I'm trending, right? So this trend, and I'm not talking about conventional trending, I'm talking about my own personal trend.
Sure.
What I'm doing is I'm recording it takes me about 2 hours to do at least set up every clip. I might not have time to arrange it, but at least I have all the segments, and then I can edit in the final arrangement, for the ends, that people could see how it kind of, how it plays through in the arrangement view and stuff. So I've been actually doing that so that people don't have to go to I don't know, SoundCloud or whatever. That's just I'm just trying to figure out my own little formula template.
Yeah.
You know, you have like your thing, everybody's got their thing or whatever.
And that automates it. That becomes your system. So it'll get easier every time. It's taking you 2 hours now, but maybe like in 6 months from now, it takes you an hour. Maybe it takes you an hour and a half. You know, you're shaving time off every time.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I was just calling to see if like, you know, you had any particular like insider suggestions to like cut down on that time. Because like A, it takes more time to edit. B, it is like an ordeal, and you know, I work like so much, and I can't help, like, this is my outlet, you know what I'm saying? So when I can't do that, it's like, okay, I'm just exhausted and I'm drained, and it's like, but I need my outlet, you know what I'm saying? So if it's easier for me to like just do, because, you know, aside from like the creative aspect of it, like I do have that ability. It's just making it happen. That's like, you know, in its entirety, because it's like the first suggestion that you told me that I find the most important is like, okay, you're going to make something, try not to put it on the back burner. Like when you make something, like play it through. Don't second guess it. Like you were saying earlier in the chat. I do it from start to finish. It takes me about 2 hours, and then I produce it, put it on SoundCloud, put it on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And I just want to cut down on the record time, man, like for real. But I think one of the benefits of having it like that is what basically like what you're doing now. I just realized I have 2 MacBooks, so I'm thinking maybe I can stream while I'm doing it, and that will make me feel like, okay, maybe it's taking a little while to do it, but at least. But then, see, I fear that if I'm getting caught up in a stream, it'll take even longer, like an extra, you know what I mean? So
yeah, maybe
there's just so much stuff to consider.
There's so much stuff to consider, and you have to really optimize what works for you and like how you want to spend your time. So you might eventually find that, okay, I don't want to spend my time this way, but I would give it some time to just, like, you're new to it still. Like, even though you've been grinding, like you're still kind of new to it. The battle that I have with time is every time I learn to do something and I get fast and I get good at it, I end up adding a layer onto it. So I'm constantly in the mindset of like leveling up. So like, yeah, okay, great. I learned to use iMovie and I can make these really cool edits with iMovie. Time to upgrade to Final Cut Pro. You know what I mean? Like, let's learn the more advanced stuff. So that's going to be, if you can go into it with that expectation that you're going to be constantly improving, right? Like you haven't just started doing this and this isn't going to be the way you do it forever. And this isn't the best way that you could possibly do it. If you actually go like 360, like embrace it as a full like improvement journey where like not only are you learning a new skill today, but you're going to improve on that skill tomorrow. And then a year from now, you will have like exponentially improved on that skill. If you're constantly learning and you embrace the concept of constant learning, you're never going to feel like, oh, I just want to get there. I just want to get there and stop and feel good about where I'm at, you know? Like that's chasing a thing that doesn't exist because there's always room for improvement. And as your skills improve, your standards get raised, you know? Like the thing that I was okay with putting on YouTube 4 years ago is not the thing that I'm okay with putting on YouTube today. So, you know, like a little bit of it is, you know, embracing the fact that it's a journey, and every time you learn something and get good at something, you're going to learn something new. And just realizing that that's kind of part of it. But of course, you know, like systemize, automate things that you can, whether it's, I know Constantine talks about creating an Ableton template or a video editing template. Like that's one thing I have with Ableton. Like I sit down and it opens a specific template. It's not a blank slate every time. I have the 2 plugins that I always use, my basic audio processing rack, a sampler open, a drum rack open, and that probably, if you think about it, like to set that all up might take me like 2 minutes if I had to do that from scratch. But if it's 2 minutes every time I open Ableton, and let's just say I only open Ableton once a day, at the end of a month, at the end of 30 days, I've now saved myself an hour, you know? You got to think of it over that long timeline. Is there a thing that's taking you 2 minutes every time you do it that you can automate it so that after 30 days, it hasn't wasted a whole hour of your time?
that experience, the automation comes with experience.
Yeah, because you
One of
don't
the
know
things
your
I
systems.
noticed-
You don't know the constant habits that you're going to be walking into until you are in it. So once you are in it and you can assess and see like, I'm doing this every time. I don't really need to do this every time. I can automate that, or I can create a system for that, you know? Or shortcut.
Right. So one of the things I just did to increase, I just want to share this with the community. I got an external hard drive. And what I did was I went into the preferences and then I figured out how to route all of the files that will be saved, like the cache, the temporary files, the blah, blah, blah files. And that'll all go to the external hard drive, saving room on my computer so that it runs really well. Another thing that I noticed was that because I followed that suggestion, kind of referencing back to what I said before about just finishing a project, is that, I might feel like insecure about something, but the fact that I made something, I followed through and I did it. And guess what? Like when I listen to my stuff more than like other people listen to my stuff. And I'm new and I'm getting like a good amount of stuff, heard and getting a lot of positive feedback. I'm just really excited to just connect with the community. Like that's a big thing for me, is just connecting with people, having opportunities, you know what I mean, to experiment with new toys and stuff like that. That's my goals. And then just doing what I do while in the process. Another thing I wanted to do was congratulate you, because since I last talked to you, you know that Sparkle Mountain came out.
Oh,
And I wanted to say good job on the dance moves.
Thanks.
It's a beautiful thing.
For those of you who don't know, Andrew Wong has a music video for a song called Sparkle Mountain, and he put a bunch of other like content creators in it. So you can, if you look hard enough, you will find me dancing in a very shiny, sparkly sweatsuit.
And a wizard. You're half wizard, half
It's so funny.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, thanks for everything, and you're very pivotal, vital to this community, and you do awesome work. And I look forward to the sound pack. I want to know more about it, but I'm gonna wait. I know I'm just gonna wait for it. And
dude, tomorrow you will get to see the instruments I used in the sample pack. You will get to see me recording the instruments. You will get to see me making a beat with the sound pack. All that.
All right, cool. Sweet, man.
Tomorrow.
Awesome.
Thank you for calling in, man.
All right, be well. Thank you.
You too. We're going to keep rolling. 3 more calls today. Jonathan, Jay, and Mateus. We got this. We're going to do this. How is it going, Jonathan? Make sure you are connected via audio. What's up, Jonathan? You're connected now.
Hey, how are you doing, TAETRO?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the stream. What's your question today?
Thanks for having me. Well, basically, I think you remember our chat earlier. I was telling where I was getting the music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is basically, so I'm getting into like studying and stuff, and I like a lot of structure.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like trying to figure out, okay, what do I do for step 1, step 2, step 3? So, and definitely like step 1 being musical knowledge and having all that together. How would you basically categorize, milestones in learning, like your DAW or mixing, mastering, all of that? If you had to like just separate it, because I like to flow in, so I know I'm going at a good pace.
Sure.
So if you could like kind of advice on the right way of structuring my learning pattern.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the right way is for you. I think everybody's got their own right way. But if I think about structure, it's a few things. So you want to think about your music theory and music composition skills. I'd say that's one big chunk and one big category, because the more you understand about music theory, the more you can better accurately create the music that you want to make. That's composition. There is a songwriting and arrangement aspect to it as well. So that's another category. Once you come up with those ideas and once you understand how to translate the ideas in your brain to ideas in your DAW, how do you arrange those? How do you create songs out of those? Songwriting and arrangement. From there, it's mixing is another skill set. Now, how do I take that arrangement that I've made and properly mix it and potentially master it so that it sounds good? And somewhere within there fits like music production, right? So fits with like because it's so hard, because I think music production crosses, it's like an umbrella over all those things, because it has to do with sound design. Do I need to make the sound that I hear in my head, or can I find a preset? Do I have enough knowledge to know how to tweak a preset to make it sound like the idea in my head? Or for instance, like, you know, composition and mixing, like that's all part of music production. So like in terms of tracking your success and like your goals and things like that, there's a couple ways you can track. You can track based on, you know, what kind of attention you're getting around your music, like what people are saying about it. Like if more people are listening, or if more people are giving you positive feedback, that's one way to track. But I think more importantly, another way to track your progression is to take your finished music and really compare it to music that you made a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and really critically analyze, like, where are the parts that I have improved? Like, try to take yourself, like, pretend it's not you, pretend it's not your music, and really try to judge that music against your older music, and really note the ways that you have improved in major ways, but then also note the ways that you haven't improved so much. Like, wow, this mix sounds way better than my mix from 3 months ago, but the arrangement is still super boring. So now you know, like, okay, I'm not going to focus that much on mixing anymore. I'm going to focus on my arrangement and making a more exciting arrangement. Things like that. It's about trying to be objective with your own work and trying not to be too subjective with it, looking at it from an outsider's perspective, or finding, like, even with like friends whose opinions you trust, it gets a little murky, because you don't know if necessarily they have the same knowledge you have, they don't have the same goals you have, they don't understand your work the same way you understand your own work. So try to be as objective as possible, and your basic way of comparing your progress is by constantly making music and then going back and comparing yourself to yourself. Like, if you're only in competition with yourself, you know, like, it's your improvement journey. Of course, you can take your tracks and play them next to, like, oh, I really tried to recreate this deadmau5 track, or I really tried to create a track in a similar style. Let me play my track, and then let me play the deadmau5 track, and now let me list all the ways that it doesn't quite live up to that deadmau5 track, and let me list all the ways that I feel pretty good. Like, I feel like the melodies are on point, right? But I feel like the mixing is not quite there. Things like that, like being super objective in comparison. If you're going to compare yourself to others, like being aware that, you know, you're not in $1 million studio. You don't have this huge record contract that gives you the time and access to engineers that other people do. If you're comparing yourself to yourself, you're the only person you're holding yourself accountable to. Like, did I get better, or does my track still sound the same as it did 3 months ago? Why does it sound the same as it does 3 months ago? Oh, because I didn't make any real changes in my regimen and how I'm learning. I didn't really challenge myself. All those things. I hope that that's helpful. Does that answer the question?
Oh yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, comparing yourself to yourself, which is another reason I push people to just like get work done, like finish a track. Don't abandon a track because it sounds bad. Finish it, call it a day, release it, don't release it, whatever. At least it's done and it's not hanging in the background like, oh, maybe I'll finish that, maybe not. But it's a signpost. If you finish it, and even if you don't release it, if you can go back to it in a month and compare it to the track you just made a month later, and you can acknowledge some improvements and find ways that you still need to improve, you'll accelerate your journey a lot faster.
Yeah.
I hope that was helpful. I got to move on to the next call, but I really appreciate you calling in. Thanks so much, Jonathan. Have a good one. Oh, what did I just do? I just pushed the wrong button. Jay, did I push the right button? Yes. Jay, you're up. 2 more calls, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said before, we're brought to you by 343 Labs today, 343labs.com if you want to check out a course, learn music production, mixing, mastering, Ableton, Logic, all that good stuff is available on 343labs.com. And there's a free workshop coming up, vocal production workshop, which I will share in the chat later. Jay, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. I like your energy. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Kansas City.
Amazing. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you. What's your question today?
Hey, first off, huge fan.
Thank you.
Some of the guys have been talking, guys and gals, have been talking about just getting into music production and where to start and kind of learning or understanding the concept of music theory.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, you put me on to the Akai MPK Mini 3. And
Awesome.
I mean, I just got it last week, man, and I'm so stoked. And I'm thinking, oh, yes, I'm about to be the biggest producer in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Plugged it in, booted up Ableton, and had no clue where to go from there.
That's the thing. Like, I think that what you just said is really important because so many people go through that. They're like, I'm going to buy this keyboard. I'm going to boot up Ableton. I'm going to make some dope beats. But then they plug it in, they boot up Ableton, and they go, shit, I don't know how to actually play any music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, after the first 30 minutes of just frustration, I actually was able to get a couple of piano rolls,
Totally.
sounds.
Like, there's ways like folks with zero theory knowledge can work their way around it, but it's a little bit of like crawling through the dark. Like, you don't really know.
Yeah. Oh, now what I do want to say for those guys though is, I don't know if they're familiar or you're familiar with the gentleman named Adam Neely.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, Andrew
Wong. Yep.
And yourself. I mean, you guys are amazing at breaking down, just intro to things, something like the diminished chords. Like, I would never know why I would need that or where to start. But I also wanted to say that I seen a nice set of videos by Jack Joseph Puig, just a legendary dude.
Awesome.
In engineering and music production in general. But it's safe to say that I learned more by not touching the MPK, but listening to you guys, watching and understanding the concept of music theory, not necessarily jumping into it, but, like you told the first gentleman, where, go ahead and play for a little bit, but then take that time to do a couple of hours or
put in some work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that it betters you, and man, the frustration that I had plugging it in, thinking the world is at my door, and just falling flat on my face.
And it's something we all go through. It's something that I go through. I have a video about returning my first launch pad that I ever bought because I bought this launch pad and got so excited and was like, oh, that's right, I have no idea what I'm doing. That, like, we all go through that, and I appreciate your note about like people being able to explain things because you're doing the exact right thing. So I hope some folks are still listening. It's like, if you can find people like Andrew Wong, like Adam Neely, folks like that, that can really break down things like complicated concepts. It's not just about like understanding a complicated concept. Like, music theory can be complicated for people. It's about people being able to translate why it matters, like how it applies. And I think there's a lot of content creators that are very, very good at that. And that has been one of my missions with the channel. Like, I don't want to just teach you the concepts of music theory or beat production or whatever just for the sake of you learning the knowledge. I want to teach you so that you understand why it's important and how you can apply it. I think all that's really important. And what you said about like less time with hands on the keyboard and more time like consuming the knowledge and understanding the concepts is really, really important. The second step, of course, is pick up your keyboard and now apply what you just learned.
Absolutely. And I had a question for you.
Sure.
If you can, real quick, can you name a couple of, your inspirations that you looked up to when you first started producing and doing music production?
Yeah, for sure. When I first started out, I was a huge fan of Flying Lotus, who's like a really amazing producer. If anybody watches Adult Swim, and you hear that music in Adult Swim, I'm pretty sure he's still doing the beats during that, but he has like full albums. Full albums like beat tapes. He works with Thundercat a lot. He was a producer that I really liked. That definitely helped inform my style. Again, I was critically listening and being like, okay, this is the kind of drums he uses. This is the type of rhythm that he uses. Like, there's a very distinct kick rhythm that I always fall back on sometimes.
Right.
And then people like Grimes. Like, when I was first starting, Grimes was doing a lot of like electronic music, like stuff on the floor with tons of gear. And some of my first sessions were floor sessions, fully inspired by Grimes. There's people like, I'm forgetting the name now, but people like Shigeto. Shigeto is a drummer who also uses Ableton Live and makes beats at the same time. So he'll drum. He'll drum. He'll also do some like MPD stuff, like finger drumming, and he has it all running in that. One more is like Nicholas Jar, and I think he has a duo called Dark Side. It's like a guitar player, and then he runs all the electronics. That was super inspiring to me as well. So those are 4. There's one more other important one, but I'm just not remembering the name, so it's not coming to me. But all those folks, and when I was listening and watching those folks, actually it was more watching than listening. I'll consume so many live videos of my inspirations, and also try to watch as many interviews as possible, because it's the same thing that you're talking about. If you go and you watch these people and you really listen and you really pay attention, you can learn so much, like more than you can learn going to any college or anything. Just critically watch what people are doing and don't feel like everything has to be spelled out for you. You can watch somebody run a session and see the gear that they're using and pay attention to how they're using it to then take those techniques and apply it to your own thing, you know? You don't need them to do a tutorial on it. You can really critically watch and learn.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I highly encourage everybody and consume as much interviews and as much content from your inspirations as possible, and you will learn more than you can learn in a 4-year degree program in college.
Man, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, man, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna let the other callers get on.
Thank you so much,
man. And you know, we're out here watching you, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope you call in again on a future stream, Jay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, no problem.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Final call of the day. We have been live for almost like 2 hours, my friends, but that's cool. That's cool. It's the first TAETRO Talks back in a while, first call-in show in a while, so I'm okay with taking a little more time today. But I am going to have to go to the bathroom at some point, let me tell you, and I am going to have to go do some other work today. If I want to get that video and that sound pack out tomorrow, somebody's got to do the final edit. But that's fine. Mateus, I'm going to try to bring you in here. Take a moment and thank everybody who's been hanging in the chat. If you are just tuning in and it's a little later in the stream, don't worry, because the stream will be up and live for you to rewatch back, and that's totally cool. Go to youtube.com/343labs to tune into streams every single day. Streams by me, streams by other instructors. But Mateus, you're on the stream. Welcome to the show. You're our final caller for today. Can you hear me, Mateus?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Welcome to the stream. How are you? I think we're having a connection issue. Mateus, let me know if you can hear me.
Wait, is the stream off?
Oh, no, you're here. You're good to go. What's up?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, welcome. Where are you calling in from, first of all?
I'm from Belgium.
From Belgium. Amazing. Well, welcome. What's your question today?
With what can I use the DDJ 200?
Say that question one more time.
With what program can I use the DDJ 200?
To DJ. A DJ controller? You have a DJ controller? You want to use a program to DJ?
Yeah.
I use Ableton Live, but it's not really a DJ program. What you can check out, I did this one video on a program called DJ Juiced, I think is what it was called. I forget. I even forget the freaking brand that it's by. DJUCED. That is free DJ software. DJUCED. Some free DJ software, but they also have some really great tutorials for how to use the software. So check that out. If you want to do more beat making and music production stuff, I recommend Ableton Live or a more robust DAW. But yeah, that's what I got for you.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling in, Mateus. I hope you do it again soon. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye. All right. It was a great show today, folks. I want to thank everybody who called in. I want to thank everybody who hung out in the chat. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to everybody's question, but I hope that everybody has had a good stream, and like if folks are able to jump in and answer each other's questions. Edo Constantine with the super chat, thank you. We'll have this be our final question today. Would love to hear your thoughts on branding, alias versus real name. What made you go with TAETRO versus your real name? Well, what's really interesting, I'll answer this final question, is TAETRO is actually my real name. It's my last name. It's just spelt differently. It's spelt like phonetically. And I thought that was a cool way to sort of claim my name, I guess, reclaim that last name. And it's very unique to my identity, and nobody else has it. I had performed under other names before. I like the idea of having a pseudonym. I think that there's a point where, like, if you have a name, well, Adil Constantine, I don't know if there are lots of other people with the same name as you around, so you have that advantage. But like, my first name's Nick, like there are lots of Nicks out there. So I could pretty much pick any other name to be called, and it would be cool. And I was really looking for a short, simple artist name. It killed me on the Google SEO, because if you search TAETRO, it autocorrects to TAETRO. It doesn't do that on YouTube anymore, which I'm super proud of, but you could think of a name that does well with SEO and all that good stuff. That's my thought. And a name that you identify with and that you feel good about, because now that becomes your identity. So really put some thought into that. But remember, Apple, if you got dropped onto this planet having never been on planet Earth before, and I told you there's a company called Apple, what do you think they make? You would probably say, oh, they make fruit, or they sell fruit. You wouldn't say, oh, they're a computer company. So that is to say, not only just a computer company, they're like a high-end, like almost luxury pro computer company. That is to say that you pick the name and then you make the name. So TAETRO doesn't mean anything to anybody that just has gotten dropped on this planet, but it means something based on all of my work. And you might have different definitions for me as an artist based on my work, but everybody's going to kind of throw around the same words and same ideas. So you're going to make the name. Regardless of what you choose, it is important. It does become your identity, but you make the identity based on what you do. The name does not make the identity. Something to think about. But I really, really appreciate you all for tuning in today. This has been a great stream. I'm going to post one last time. There's a free vocal production workshop happening with Beatport charting producer Lewis Beck. It's happening at 343 Labs online. So I would highly recommend y'all check that out, sign up for it. It's free. And then there's lots of courses on 343 Labs as well, if you're trying to level up your music production skills. But I want to thank you all for tuning in, especially thank those super chats by Rev Sabes, Ado Constantine. Thank you to everybody who called in and asked a question. We will do more TAETRO Talks next Tuesday. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for more 343 TV. Lewis Beck, who's actually giving that workshop, is going to be talking about signal flow in the home studio. So make sure you check that out. And that's all I got for you today. Video dropping tomorrow. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe to my channel, but not only subscribe, but if you turn notifications on. If when I post a video, a bunch of people show up to a video and a bunch of people watch it and comment on it and like it, engage with it, it does so much better in the algorithm and more people see the videos. So tomorrow you'll see a video with a mic giveaway and also the release of my new sound pack, or sample pack, which I'm super excited about. So until then, I'll see y'all next time. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.